Welcome. My name is Barbara Markham and I'm the Director of Senior Resources for the City of Westland. Today we are doing a very special Health Matters segment. As you know, even with COVID and all things considered in the last several years, technology has become a huge thing. So whether people are sitting sedentary on their phones or whether they're sitting on their computers, people aren't as active as they used to be. So part of what we're doing is showing some great healthy recipes because nobody wants to give up snacking. So today we have 3 special guests who are going to show you some legendary recipes that you can make easily at home.
So today, Mayor Wild, we're going to be making a few snacky foods. The first is going to be some fresh salsa. Before you, we have tomatoes that we grew at the Senior Center, the Friendship Center, back behind. We grew a total of 100 plants this year.
Wow, they look amazing. And I know your whole garden is organic, right?
It is. It was a parking lot several years ago, and then under the direction of Barb Markham, we rototilled and augmented the soil, and we've been growing some wonderful things that we've shared with the community.
Well, this looks great, and fresh salsa is one of my favorites. And of course, it is football season, so whether you're a Lions fan, a Packers fan, or any of those other football teams out there with winning records, you can't beat salsa. And I know that West End residents love their Mexican food, and they're excited about your recipe because Mary's actually got a little Lebanese in her too. So we might have a little Lebanese flair with today's salsa, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. So I think to start out the recipe, we've got a food processor here. We could hand chop, but I'm all about convenience and working smarter. So we've cut up some sweet red peppers and yellow peppers and orange peppers, and I'm just going to put them right here in the food processor.
All right, now the different types of peppers will give it a little bit more distinct flavor.
Distinct flavor and a different kind of a sweetness. Every one of them is a little bit different. So just giving it a little chop, and then we've cut up.
That is much better, Marie. I thought you were going to make me chop all those peppers up when I first got here.
That's the next recipe.
Oh, that's the next recipe? Okay.
Yeah, this is sort of like when you're on the job training.
Okay.
You get introduced entry level, we go easy on you. Then we're going to have to step it up when we go to the next one.
All right, well, I appreciate that.
So we have some sweet onion here. I'm not going to use all of it because we're going to use some red onion too. I'm going to hand that back to you because we're done with it for now.
I like a little red onion in my salsa.
Well, they're sweet.
I use them in my guacamole too.
Ooh, guacamole. Are you making some today?
We might have to save that for the next episode.
Oh, there'll be a next one. So those are done so far. I think what we want to do now is add some of the tomatoes.
All right, and once again, these were grown at the Friendship Center in the new organic garden, and they look incredible.
They're awesome. They're just so sweet. These happen to be from the Amish families in Millersburg, Ohio. We got some non-GMO seeds, which means that they can replicate. So we'll have 1 million tomato plants for next year. I think that's enough for now.
All right.
I may dash in, this is the juice of a couple limes. And I've got some smoked paprika.
Very nice, very nice.
Smells kind of yummy. The weather's turning today.
It's fall.
We've had such a great summer. The garden was so prolific.
Mary just added a little bit of cumin. Now, a lot of people are afraid to use cumin, but it's really easy to work with.
I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah, it smells great. I can smell it already.
Well, I think it just adds a dimension. It's going to blend in with everything else. And then lastly, we're going to use some chili powder.
Very nice. So we used smoked paprika. We did some adobo.
Adobo, which is just another Mexican spice. I picked it up at one of the markets on Ford Road.
Very nice.
What else? We might want to throw that cilantro in, which Barb Markham picked this morning.
So this cilantro just smells incredible. If you were in here, you could smell it. It just it's great looking. Barb did a great job cleaning it,
I'm excited
about.
If only you knew. If only you knew. So I think that's going to do it for
So
the
many
basic
people make
recipe.
salsa and they don't use cilantro, and they're really missing
Well,
out.
it's a love-hate thing. Either you are all about it, or you put it in your mouth and say, that tastes like soap. Get it away from me. Now, in honor of your being the assistant chef today, our sous chef, Barb Markham, chopped up half of a jalapeno. I don't want to touch it.
So this was earlier when you were talking about peppers, you were missing the main pepper. You can't have salsa
not
without
so much
some
for me.
jalapeno. And Barb did a great job of cleaning these. You can see she removed all the seeds. So even if you don't like the heat, but you like the flavor, you can still use jalapenos. Just take those seeds out. And Barb did a great job.
I'm going to have you put them right through that chute, but
right.
not all of them. Well, do the guys here like heat?
Well, imagine a firefighter that didn't like heat. That just, I mean, that's
silly me.
We'll throw a little bit more in there. Okay. It's kind of a job prerequisite. You have to like heat if you're a firefighter.
There we go. We are done. Do you have a bowl over there?
We do have a bowl, and you know, one of the things that we like to do is we like to spice things up a little bit. We like to change it up, and there's a lot of ways you can do that. We have some avocado here that you can add to it. We have some black beans if you want to give it a little southwestern flair. And earlier today we roasted some corn here, and you can see it really turned out nice. We have one of the stalks here. You know, this is another thing, that roasted corn, it really brings out the sugars in the corn, and it really makes for a nice hearty salsa.
Yeah. By the addition of the black beans, which we've rinsed, if you need to watch your sodium, it's always a good idea to rinse canned beans. If you're more energetic than I, you can use a dry bean that you soak overnight, but I'm not that well prepared usually. You're adding probably 30 grams of protein. So this is a great salsa to serve with chips or whatever else you've got laying around, but by boosting the protein and adding the avocado, which is another superfood, it just bolsters what we've already made.
Would you add the avocado chunky, or would you do it when you had the food processor?
I like mine firm and not green and gooey, so I would probably make a little plate and just slice it up on top and have some yum-yums.
So Mary, is this ready to go, or would you recommend you maybe put it in the fridge for a little bit and let those flavors come together, or is it ready to go?
I don't know. I think you should give it a try.
Well, that's exactly what I was hoping you'd say, because I was.
And then you can decide if we need more jalapenos.
I think it's perfect, just
Good
the way
deal.
it is.
Good deal.
Nice job.
Well done.
All right.
All right.
All right, so earlier today I said that Mary's family was from Lebanon, so we have a special treat today. Mary is going to share her family recipe for tabbouleh with us. So Mary, looks like we have everything we need for a classic tabbouleh, but this is your family recipe. So you said your family's from Lebanon. What part of Lebanon?
My father emigrated with his parents and older sister from a small village called Zakhli.
Exactly.
And it's interesting to me because they fled during the Spanish flu and the typhus epidemic. So that part of my family that were the strongest came and started their new lives in America. And it's exciting. So this is, and I should say this is regional, so I don't want to offend anybody, but this is how my family made tabbouleh. Okay, my mom was from Poland, my dad was from Lebanon, so this is a mishmash, and that's okay. We're going to start with the protein, and when I explained to Barb Markham, we're going to start with something that's a wheat product. It's called bulgur, and it's sold in different forms. I had to soak it in warm water to reconstitute it, and it's a grain. Now, for someone that can't tolerate gluten or they have a wheat sensitivity, you would not be using this in a recipe. The alternative would be quinoa, and this is a three-colored quinoa.
All right, well, that's a superfood, just like the avocados we talked about earlier. So that's a great substitute, but for the bulgur wheat, how long did you have to soak that to
We soaked it before the show, so it maybe soaked for 15 minutes or so.
Right.
You usually feel the kernel and see if it's soft. I'm going to have you add that to this bowl.
All right.
And that's going to be
We're going to put it all in?
Put the whole thing in, because we're going to match that with the vegetables you see here, the sweet peppers,
All right.
the tomatoes from the garden, parsley from our garden, peppermint from the garden.
Can you see a trend here? Everything is from that garden over at the Friendship Center. So
Now,
right,
I'm
Mary.
going to have you use some Himalaya pink salt. It's a grinder. You've got the technique.
All right.
And some allspice
Little allspice.
and some pepper. Looks yummy. We've juiced about 6 fresh lemons. So just drizzle some of this over your wheat product. That looks happy. It looks
That
good.
looks about good?
That's
All
good.
right.
And then drizzle maybe 2 tablespoons of olive oil over the top. That looks great. Now
That's
we're
how
going to...
Emerald taught me how to do a tablespoon was once around the...
But what about the Bam?
With the Bam? We haven't got to the Bam yet, so...
Oh, no,
all right.
not yet. Now we're going to add the different vegetables according to their water content. Again,
Okay.
we've got these smaller, they're like mini cherry tomatoes, ultra sweet, very thin skins. They've
Very
been
nice.
washed. We picked them this morning. So I'm going to have you slice up some of those.
Okay.
That'll be added here. In the meanwhile, I'm going to chop up some peppers. We've got different colored peppers. This time of year, as the gardens come in, your peppers start to turn color. So the biggest thing classically with tabbouleh is everything is teeny weeny cut. So normally you wouldn't be making your peppers microscopic like this, but it adds to the balance of the dish.
Mary, some people have a hard time digesting the skins on tomatoes.
Right.
But I've read that if you can digest them, you want to eat them because they're really packed with nutrients. The skins
Exactly. And especially, again, the last 2 years have taught us lots about food safety and what we ingest and our overall health and immune systems. The garden over at the senior center was a parking lot a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And we've augmented this soil, and everything we've grown has been without pesticides, so it's about as pure as you can get. So let's add these tomatoes to our wheat product.
All right, we're going to add all of them.
You betcha.
So now you told me off camera that you add things in a specific order. How do you do that?
Well, my mom was an interesting woman. She had a big pile of kids, and so we just did it her way. There wasn't a lot of argument in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
this is how my mom did it, and this is how my grandmother did it.
All right, and you mentioned something about the liquids, and the amount of...
The water content. The
Okay.
tomatoes are a lot juicier than these green onions that you're going to chop next.
Okay.
And we leave the peppermint and the parsley for the top garnish as we finish preparing the salad. But with all these fresh veggies, you can just imagine, you can just feel yourself getting stronger, so you've got the energy to do whatever you need to do. Smells good.
Yeah,
Do we
it sure
have
does.
smell-o-vision? Is it smell-o-vision?
So it's pretty nice of the firefighters to let us move into their kitchen here today, and we have one of the busiest fire departments, and so most of the time that we've been cooking, they've been out on run, so we appreciate them.
I'm surprised we haven't heard the call overhead.
Yeah, so they do a great job, and in their own rights, they're all great chefs too.
Well, the kitchen is beautiful, and yeah, someone came in earlier, I didn't catch his name, and he said, it smells like my grandmother's kitchen in here.
Well, we're going to take that as a compliment. So we have some cucumber that we cut up earlier. We add
Yeah,
those
you
as
can
well?
add those too. I'm going to just chop a few more here, and we're getting to the hard work, which is going to be the parsley and the mint. Oh, this smells so good.
Yeah.
I love the smell of fresh vegetables.
So this parsley here, was this grown in the Friendship Center
We
garden?
grew that at the Friendship Center, and it's the end. Oh, that's just for looks.
That's just for looks.
That's
okay.
already cleaned, but yeah, it's.
So we're going to chop this up here
And
next?
parsley. Did you know parsley is like it's a cleaner. It's one of those. I'm trying to think of the correct nutritional thing, but when you consume parsley or other herbs like that, whether it's mint or any of its other relatives, it just cleans out all the cobwebs in your.
All the impurities?
Yeah, antioxidant, I guess, is what I'm looking for.
So all those years when we got all those dinners and they had like the parsley as like a garnish, we were supposed to eat
Should have been
that?
eating them.
Oh man.
But we get smarter. I get smarter as I get older. So the color of this salad so far, we've got all kinds of yum, yum, yum things going on here.
So am I doing this parsley the right way? Or you want it really fine or?
I think you're doing an outstanding job. I would probably hire you.
Well, just so you know, we're bringing in a ringer for the next episode.
are?
We're bringing in Chef Tony from the Wayne West Sand School's Culinary Arts program. He's the chef at Cafe Marquette.
Oh my goodness, the real deal.
I think if he saw my technique here, I don't know if I'd pass the class or not, but hopefully he can share a couple tips with us there. So we're going to put this right in here?
You betcha.
All right.
Now, my Aunt Charlotte was big on parsley. She would do 10 bowls like that and do
Holy moly.
1/2 a tomato. But that's how they do it in their family. It's not how we would do it in our family. So I think to go through our inventory, we've got peppers, we've got cucumbers, tomatoes, parsley, and mint.
Yep, and you've got the mint there. Are we going to use all the parsley, you think?
We don't need to do that now, but we can
Okay.
add to it later
Okay.
because we need room to toss. So here's a clean spoon. I'm going to have you salt, pepper, allspice
Okay.
this bowl and be kind of generous. Ooh, nice one. Good one.
All
Good
right.
one.
We use that pink Himalayan salt at home.
Oh, it's if you're a heart patient, it's much better than table salt.
Allspice. Now, that's
Allspice
something
is
that we don't use a
cheating.
lot.
It's cheating. If I were to go into Dearborn, I could get the real spices, but we were working on the fly. Now, the dressing is fresh lemon juice and drizzles of olive oil. So I'm going to let
Okay.
you do that and toss away, and we're almost there.
All right. What's coming together, and I have never made tabbouleh.
This
Ever.
is your first episode
It
of
is.
the Tabbouleh Chronicles?
It
I
is.
love it. You don't need to measure.
Okay.
You just count by hippopotamuses.
Gotcha.
That's good. That looks good. You've got to go by smell, and you got to go by texture. Ooh, looking really good.
That looks good.
I hope you're catching this motion shot here. It is awesome.
We'll put that out of the way here. Boy, this is really coming together.
Oh,
I
it's
like things with the rough
beautiful.
chop like this. I
Yes,
know that
yes.
traditionally you do tabbouleh a little bit smaller pieces, but I kind of like it rough
Well,
chopped.
the tomatoes are the one that kind of led the way, because if we tried to cut those mini tomatoes into 8 pieces, we'd have mush.
That's true.
I think we're good to go.
All right.
Now we have to make some pita bread. We have some here. This has yeast in it.
Okay.
Now, some families also will use a romaine lettuce and kind of pack it in and eat it
Yeah,
like a little
kind
sandwich.
of like a lettuce wrap there.
A lettuce wrap or
All
the
right.
pita bread. In a few minutes, we're going to mix up a super easy flatbread that has no yeast in it. It's 2 ingredients, just 2.
Oh man, that sounds easy.
And we'll be cooking that on the stove in a minute. So I think that wraps up this portion of the Tabbouleh Chronicles.
All right, great job. This is Mary's family recipe, and we'll come right back. And now she's going to show us how to make that easy naan bread. All right, so for this next episode, or this next recipe, you know, we're exploring Mary's Lebanese family recipes here. Mary, we brought in a celebrity chef. This is Chef Tony from the Wayne Westland Community Schools, the Culinary Arts Program. He's the master chef at the Marquette House. When I told him we were making super easy hummus, he says, well, he's got a couple ideas to kick it up a notch.
Outstanding.
So Chef Tony, welcome to the kitchen here at Ralph Savini Fire Station.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Happy to be here. So, yes, I do work over at the William D. Ford Center for the Wayne Westland Schools, and I'm happy to be here. Give me a few ideas of what we do over at the center. So I'm going to turn it over to Mary. Mary, show us how you do this fabulous hummus that you're going to do.
Well, easy peasy.
Easy
I'm all
peasy.
about, I'm not a professional like you.
Oh.
I'm simply
Well,
a volunteer
our viewers like
here.
it easy, and I
Yes.
promise this
Believe me.
is easy.
So this is a basic recipe. We're going to just start with drained chickpeas. They came from a can. And we'll be adding some crushed garlic and some sesame paste, otherwise known as tahini, and some simple seasoning. But I'm sure you have
Sure.
other takes on this.
Well, sure. Sometimes when we're at home and we don't have all the components to make a certain dish by the recipe, we can kind of alter some things. I have altered this hummus before with using a cannelloni bean. If you have an allergen to like pine nuts, we can not put the pine nuts in. You can use lemon juice from the jar. Obviously, you'll get a better flavor if you're using lemon juice or garlic fresh. But we've made, you would want to use a white bean. I think I would stay away from the black beans. Some people get confused with chickpea and garbanzo bean. So, basically, they're the same bean. When you're making an easy hummus like this, you can alter both of those. One of the safety, health safety that we like to do is anything that comes out of a can, like a bean, that can be rinsed off. You would want to rinse all your beans off through a colander with cold water. When we use tools, we don't, and when we're working at home with our families, these are people that we don't have to wear gloves and we don't have to follow the same rules that we would follow if we're working in industry. As I'm teaching my students, we follow all the FDA and the health department rules. But when you're at home and you're working with your family, you can change things up a little bit. You can make it fun. You can take different types of ingredients and mix them together and create just not that easy dish, but somewhat of a memory of working with your family. And the best advice I can give you is when you are doing that, write it down, because if it comes out great, then you can't remember what you did. So, but Mary, let's see what we got here.
Well, like I said, we're just going to do a basic recipe. So how about if I hand you the ingredients?
Sure. So these are the chickpeas.
You know, there was a time when not that many people ate hummus. I mean, it's so mainstream now. When you go into the grocery
Absolutely.
stores, I mean, they just have huge displays of hummus and all these different incredible flavors
Right,
and
right.
blends. So, I mean, it's really become mainstream.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think now you can get a hummus with chocolate. You
Nice,
can get a
nice.
hummus with if you like heat.
With
We use
strawberries.
a chili, like a chili paste.
Nice,
We
nice.
use if you want a little heat on that. I like heat, so I like putting. When I make mine, I like to put the chili, and I also like to use like a cayenne pepper, because I kind of like the heat. If you like to garnish it with different types of peppers, it's always great to have some red pepper or vegetables to go along with your hummus. It's just
Exactly.
not, it's going to be good. The proteins are going to be in there. The vegetables will be in there. So you can use it as a dip. You can use it as a spread. You can use it many different ways. There's a lot of times when I create a hummus just to go with like a chicken kebab for my family.
Delicious.
So,
Sounds delicious.
Very nice.
Why don't we add the garlic?
we have
I don't
the
know how much
garlic?
liquid. Yep.
okay. So there's that.
So Chef Tony told us off camera about the tahini. The mistake a lot of people make is that, I mean, they spend a lot of money buy good tahini. They open it up and they forget to mix it up, and all the oil goes to the top, so you end up with too much oil in your
All
hummus.
the good stuff there.
So this is the tahini that I'll put into the bowl here. Tahini has a strong flavor of sesame. So you can always add more, but if you choose to add all of it at one time, it might be a little overpowering. So my advice would be to add half of it and then taste it, see how it works.
How about a little salt and a little garlic, and we'll give it a whirl?
So we're using the red Himalayan salt here. There's all types of different salts. This has a little grinder on the top of it. So you're going to get a little bit larger piece of salt. So you don't want to put too much salt in, of course. And then we have the oil. So using a blender, what I would do is I would blend first. And so I don't really want to whip my oil. I don't want a light and fluffy hummus. I want a smooth paste hummus. So if I'm using, if I pour my oil in right now, that would whip my oils, and we don't want to whip the oil. So I will take a look at this. So we mix it up. We break it down, and then we're going to add a little oil to this.
So Chef Tony, it sounds like you cook a little Mediterranean at home too.
I cook a lot of Mediterranean at home. So
nice.
I started as a pastry chef and a baker, so I do a lot of my. We have different types of pitas, but we do use pita's not hard to make, and naan bread. So I do create some of the breads instead of buying pita at the store.
We're going to show our viewers how to make it super simple in just a few minutes.
Okay.
A little water, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I was looking for right there. I was almost on my way to the sink there. I was like, did you see me moving over? I was like, give me a little bit of water.
All right, a little more liquid.
So some of these you can use with a food processor also. So. Do we have any? I can use that spoon. Yes, spoon here. Thank you very much. So you just want to blend it to a smooth paste, and you might have to manage what kind of machine that you're using. Food processors. This is a blender, so we're going to want to. That blade's at the bottom, so we're going to want to keep on mixing and pushing it down, and keep on blending it. And I might just need a little more water.
How about some lemon juice?
Yeah, do you have lemon juice?
I can get a lemon.
Yeah.
We have the technology.
So we're getting there. We're going to add a little lemon juice to that, and then there we go. I'll be happy to do that. Mary, I'll take that.
There you go.
Can I have that sifter? So. This is a juicer. You can buy these at almost any store. And what this juicer does is it does strain your seeds out of your lemon. Basically, you just put it on there and twist it. And then it catches all the pulp, and it also catches your seeds. And sometimes when we're working in a commercial kitchen, we use a lot of zest. So if I want to put zest in a pie I'm making or a pastry shell that I'm making, I'm going to get a nice lemon flavor. So we don't necessarily just dispose of all our lemons. We use them for zesting. So basically what we have here is a little bit of lemon juice. We don't have to even take the cap off. We can just pour that right into our easy hummus. And once again, this was half of one lemon. And we just slowly pour that in so we don't get any seeds. And that's going to give us enough moisture to get that to a nice paste. Add just a little more oil to that. And there we go.
Good.
There's a pulse on this, so what it does is it activates the blade and then it stops, so nothing gets caught up in the blade. So let's take a look and see what we have here.
Looks yummy to me.
All right, our hummus is coming together.
So, do we have a plate to display this, or are you going to put in the bowl here? Do you want to use any of the pine nuts for the top?
I thought we'd garnish it with the top and
Great.
maybe a little drizzle.
Sure, I'll get some of this out of here so you can garnish that. I talked about using the lemon for zesting. Zesting is just you can use a paring knife, if you will. They do make a zesting tool. You can zest a little lemon on top of here, and make it a little bit more festive.
It smells delicious.
Yeah, anytime you're using fresh garlic and fresh lemon and anything fresh out of your gardens, you know, such a difference between going to the grocery store,
Right.
using a pre-made lemon juice in a can bottle.
Right.
You know, we kind of take for granted that everything that we get from the grocery store is ready to use. And by being a chef and working in the industry, we learned that safety in cooking is very important, because I think a lot of
Absolutely.
people take for granted that the apple that I'm eating looks nice, looks clean, looks, you know, edible, but yet we have pesticides on there, we have waxes on there.
Right.
Same thing with the same parsley that you're using out of your garden needs to be washed, and the soil needs to be taken off of that.
Exactly.
And you know, we have to do our due diligence to get that clean. But you'll see people in the grocery store, and they'll just take it home and they'll just pick the parsley off and never wash it, or cilantro, or you know, herbs and spices that we use. So it's very important that we keep the foodborne illnesses out of our systems. It's a real thing. First thing we do when we work with students at our school is we teach them the proper way to wash your hands according to the health department and the FDA, which basically is, it was almost on every TV show, right? People were showing people how to wash their hands. But the funny part is we wet our hands, we lather them with soap or some type of soap product for 10 to 15 seconds, and then what we do is we rinse, and we use at school we use a towel that's one-time use.
Right, exactly.
And then we put on the antiseptic or Purell or something after we wash our hands. So it's never in place of washing our hands.
No, it's important.
So I think I got the most out of here with this
yummy.
tool that I have.
Smells yummy.
I don't have a towel with me.
So is the hummus, is it ready to eat now, or does it have to go in the fridge, or?
No, we can.
Well, you know, man, that's a good question, because
Ooh.
the larger volumes that you make, so at school we make larger volumes, so probably 10 times as much as this. It's going to take us longer to puree it and get it to that type of texture. So as that is going through, it will heat up.
Gotcha.
So the longer you mix it, the warmer it's going to get.
Okay.
If you're using it right away, I would definitely use it right away. If you're going to hold it for an hour or two, I would definitely put it in the refrigerator.
All right. So Mary, what do we have to do? We have to finish this off with a little pine nuts or some
If you
olive oil,
prefer
or what do you-
this, that's another great source of protein. A little
right.
drizzle of
Kinda
olive
see
oil
here,
on the
we'll-
top.
We'll throw some pine nuts on top of it there
good.
for a little crunch. A little olive oil for a flavor.
Yum, yum.
And there you go. You got Mary's family's easy peasy. Is that what
Easy
you said?
peasy.
Easy
peasy hummus. So thank you, Chef Tony, for
no problem.
for helping us
Great.
out
Most
there.
delicious.
Yeah, it does.
We're going to take a little break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about making that super easy naan bread at home, okay?
Sounds
great.
like,
Thank
sounds
you.
like a plan.
All right, so we're back, and so we made some incredible hummus. Chef Tony is, you can see he's added his special touch to make it a little bit nicer. So now we're going to move into the flatbread easy peasy recipe that Mary's going to show us how to do. And Tony, so Mary told me that she's going to put me to work, so I rolled up my sleeves and I'm ready to go. This will be the first time that I've made dough, so I'm excited.
So exciting. Basically, this is a 2 or 3 ingredient recipe.
Okay.
We've got 1 3/4 cups of self-rising flour. If you don't have self-rising, you can just use regular flour with baking powder.
Baking soda or baking powder, that's what you want to use on that, and salt.
Well, we're going to add salt to that. The second ingredient is I'm using full-fat Greek yogurt. You can use low-fat, whatever, but there's something about the Greek yogurt, I believe it's the cultures, that takes the place of the leavening or the agent that makes it rise. So, Mayor, when you're ready, you can add your ingredients, and this is isn't that cool?
That's a very cool tool.
This is a little Dutch bread kneader.
All right,
So
you
put
got
everything
one
in
of
your-
those over there at the Marquette?
I do not yet.
All right, okay.
But I'm thinking about getting one.
All right, so we're going to add the flour then? Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to put the flour in.
And I would just like to add, when you are making a dough recipe, you do want to make sure that you don't get a yogurt that is flavored. Like sometimes the vanilla would be in it, and you really have to look at the containers to really tell.
All right, so we're going to add our Greek yogurt. All right, we'll get that in there. See if we can keep it all in the bowl there.
It's a great accomplishment. It's kind of messy. Do you want me to get you a little spatula?
There's a spoon right there.
All right, we have a spoon here so we can get it all in there.
Oh, there's a spatula.
I just didn't put her over.
All
This
right,
is my
and
first
then
time.
we're going to add a little bit of salt, and then we're going to start mixing.
That's right.
Okay, this is 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And the Chef Tony said we're using the Himalayan pink salt. And then we're just going to start
We're
stirring
going to
it.
mix it up, and
Okay.
you'll see that tool is going to incorporate things. So it takes the place of the kneading. That's normally a process of making bread. But this is going to become an accompaniment to the salsa that we fixed earlier, and the hummus and the tabbouleh. So it's going to be a multi-purpose, easy bread.
So Mary, Chef Tony's wife is Polish, so that means that they're probably at home on the weekends making homemade pierogies.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
Pierogi,
this weekend now, yeah,
yeah.
that'd be great. So we make it for all the families when we make them.
It's
so
so
all
yummy.
It is. So we
Cleanup
use
is terrible.
Yes, we do a potato and cheese that came from the grandmother's
I
recipe.
love it. I love it. My favorite is sauerkraut.
Yes.
Sauerkraut with fresh
All right,
mushroom.
sounds like we got the makings of our next show already.
It looks
Yeah, there
good,
you
yummy, yummy. So you can keep working that. The idea is to get your hands in. Are your hands clean, Mayor?
Yep, we,
Good deal.
we
And your
cleaned up.
things are rolled up. So just kind of work it together until it turns into a ball, and then we're going to let this rest for a minute or two. Prior to the show, we had mixed up a batch. It's already ready. And our pan is heating up on the stove. See how nice and tender that dough feels? Oh, this is your first dough, so you don't know how to compare it.
I'm already thinking I can make some biscuits, I can make some pizza,
You're,
I mean
you're
all kinds
there.
of good stuff.
You're there.
I
Isn't
bought
that
one of those-
exciting?
You're welcome to come over and make as many cinnamon rolls, Mary, as you like over at the center. We make a lot
I
of
bought
cinnamon
one of
rolls.
those cool pizza ovens, so I don't have to
Oh,
make
nice.
my own.
Nice.
Your
Make some
house.
pizza doughs.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes, pizza
So,
doughs are
we
great.
said
Spinach.
3 simple recipes. We had flour, we had Greek yogurt, and salt. That was it.
that was it.
All
And
right,
it's turning into a dough, looking nice.
we're getting there. Chef Tony's. I don't know if I was in his class right now. This is probably like a C minus, maybe.
No,
or-
you're doing great, Mayor. You're doing great. That would be a definite A there. It's coming together.
All right. Well, you guys heard it.
Oh,
from
it's
Chef
looking
Tony,
great.
so-
Look at,
Yep.
he's almost as good as a dough
Yeah,
hook,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. He's doing great. So kneading is just a process of mixing in the flour and the moisture. With this, we don't have a lot of ingredients, so the kneading process is a little less than a pizza dough. Kneading is adding, we're taking that flour, which has gluten in it, and we're forming that gluten within our flours. So obviously with a pizza dough, like Mayor was saying, that he would have a higher gluten of flour
Right.
instead of a self-rising flour.
Right, exactly. Oh, that looks great.
Yep.
That looks
Mary.
wonderful.
So you say we have one that's ready right
Yep.
here?
We're just going to let that rest. We'll put the towel on that one. And
All right.
I think, Chef,
Sure,
we're
I'll be
going to
happy
have
to.
you
Sure.
work this out. This recipe says it makes 8 decent-sized flatbreads.
So basically what we're going to do is cut that right in half. So now we have 2 pieces, and we're just going to cut that into 8s. So 4 pieces on each side. That gives us an even 8 nice pieces of naan bread. So what I'm doing right now is just forming them back into a circle. So it doesn't have to be a perfect circle for naan bread. It's kind of like just all different types of shapes, to be honest with you. It's more like an oval shape. So basically, what we like to teach at the center is taking any type of bread that we formed the dough out of, and we're going to attempt to roll this out. We don't want to, it's not one roll. It's a series of little stretches of the dough. So what we want to do is we want to stretch that dough out without tearing it, and we want to get to what we want our thickness, which I believe that would probably be a good thickness right there.
That looks pretty perfect, yeah.
So basically, we just, with this type of dough, I don't need any flour on the table. We have a rolling pin here. We have a cover on this rolling pin so nothing sticks to the pin doesn't stick to the dough. Like I said, if you wanted to make it a little bit more of a longer than an oval or a round, that's up to you. So I will continue to roll these out, and I think, Mary, are you going to cook some down here?
Yep.
All right.
The recipe tells us to use a heated pan. I've got a copper pan here, and I'm going to set this in the center, and now we start the clock. 2 minutes on side 1 and 2 minutes on side 2.
Well, it looks super easy. You promised this was going to be an easy recipe.
Easy
and,
peasy.
it surely is.
It looks
Work
great.
smarter, not harder.
My girls love naan bread. It seemed like recently that's become a staple at our house.
Yeah, so now you've already made your first one. The rest will be easy. And then, you know, true leadership is when you can delegate that responsibility to someone else.
All
So
right.
you train them, and then they'll
So,
be able to.
Chef Tony, you hearing that? Because, you know, she's delegated this whole
Yeah, I
recipe to
did.
you and I, so
There you
she's
go.
got leadership down pat.
I hear that, Mayor. I agree with you. So there are some here, and you know, like I could fix that a little bit. So
I don't know. I think they look pretty
good.
beautiful. Ooh, rustic, but I think the whole afternoon's been kind of rustic, don't you think?
Yeah, and you know, I mean, that's what we look for, you know, and especially in the breads that I've incorporated through the center. I make a German loaf that's cheese and green onion, and it's a chopped bread,
yum,
so it has a
yum,
chopped
yum.
look to it. That's the way it's supposed to look. Naan bread is not a perfect round or square or oval or rectangle. It's just something that was probably brought down through hand,
Right.
you know, in which we could have did that with this, Mayor. We could have used our hands to flatten this out.
Looking good.
right.
Puffing up a little bit.
All right, it looks
I'm going to
pretty
have
good.
you flip it at the 2 minute mark. Are you
All right.
paying attention how far we are into the 2
I think we're about
minutes?
halfway there.
Halfway there. So is it like 2 minutes of football time? Like when the Lions
Well,
are...
if it's in the last 2 minutes, that could be like about 45
It
minutes.
could be
if
45
you
minutes.
saved all your
Exactly,
timeouts.
exactly. It looks great to me.
All right, so I think we're just about there.
I think so too.
Ready to flip. Look at that.
Ooh.
Look at that. That looks
Look at
beautiful.
that beautiful crust. I love it. So now 2 minutes on this side, and we'll have 9 bread.
Yep. Which can go with hummus. It could go with, you can use it on the side of your tabbouleh. You can use baba ganoush. I mean, any type of, anything that you would want to use it for. You could eat it plain. So it's a pretty generic bread that fast, easy. It doesn't take a long time to cook. So you're not
We
you know,
could
putting
probably-
something in the oven. There's no proofing time
No,
on this.
no proofing time, easy peasy. We could use some of the chopped tomatoes and make like a little margarita thing.
Chef
Some
Tony,
fresh basil.
almost all the ingredients that we used today were grown in the organic garden at the Friendship Center.
Beautiful,
And we
beautiful. Yeah, I think
recreated,
so.
Really superb.
I think just being in this room and smelling the different aromas that we have from fresh vegetables and fresh herbs, and you know, that's I think that's a lot of what people are missing, and I think that's a benefit of growing your own garden.
Absolutely.
There's a self-reward of just not growing the garden and having plants to produce you know, the fruits, but also you know, the taste. We get to eat it, right? So
yum.
we love that.
That's true. What do you think, Mary? We getting pretty close here?
I think we're getting close and close. You want to flip it and see how the other side is doing? Yeah, that might need a minute or two.
Okay, we're getting very close.
This isn't my stove, so we're OJT
Yeah.
on the job training.
Well, Mary,
Yeah.
you should see the incredible new kitchen that Chef Tony has.
You invite me over?
Oh yes, you're welcome to come on over to the center anytime. We are in the process of getting our restaurant back opened up.
It's been
we
a
went
tough couple
from-
years.
Yeah, so it has, and we went through a whole new renovation. We went from 7,000 square feet all the way to 14,000 square
You
feet.
doubled. How
So-
we doing here?
I think we're just about there.
I think it's good. You can add it to those other ones, and pretty soon we'll be able to taste all the good stuff we made.
All right, you can see that we had made a couple of those a little bit earlier, Chef Tony.
Yeah, looks great. Wow.
Yum,
Beautiful.
yum.
Beautiful.
The Chef Tony was talking about the incredible new kitchen. He does an incredible job at the Culinary Arts program, preparing Westland and Wayne area youth for jobs in the food
Well,
industry. Does a
it's
great
an
job.
important life skill, even if you don't go into culinary as a career.
Yep.
Learn how to feed yourself.
Yeah, and that's what we do
Stay
at the
healthy
center.
and
I mean,
strong.
you know, we have students at all calibers, and they go through our program, and yeah, it is a life skill, and we teach them that, you know, sometime in your life you're going to want to learn how to cook a few basic
Exactly
things,
right.
and
Exactly
we
right.
we do have a really nice program, and like I said, you're welcome to come on over and take a look at what we do. We do have new equipment that the students work on.
how exciting.
We have. You know, we expose our students to many different skills and tasks,
Mm-hmm.
and we try to take those students to mastery where they are learning through steps. You know, because you know cooking is steps, and fancy tools. So we like to get the fancy tools out, and those students get a chance to hands-on and touch and
Yeah.
and feel things. And
Yeah.
and you know what? I think the greatest part of my job is that we see a student flourish and grow, just not by the talent, but sometimes by, hey, you know what? Maybe we have to make that over, or you know, we don't have a set. Everyone has to have this perfect. It's a series of different steps to get to that mastery level, and with the instruction that we give our students and the equipment that they get to work with, and the partnerships that we have with the community, you know, all comes together. And
outstanding.
I
That's
couldn't do it
wonderful.
without all those components. So.
Well, it's all great stuff. So why don't we take a little break, and we're going to put all this together. We're going to come back, and we're going to sample all of our dishes here today. You guys ready?
That's great.
Okay.
Well, since everybody else is going to be eating, I'll do the talking. I hope all of you enjoyed these healthy eating segments today. And I'm sure that you're going to prepare these, and especially the naan bread, so easy. And these are things that you can do with your children. These are starter recipes. They're not difficult. So thank you very much for joining us at Fire Station 1. Thank you, Mayor Wild, Chef Tony, and Mary Underwood for being with us today.